Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at EOS Energy Enterprises. This was a stock analysis request from one of the followers, and I want to let you know that anyone can make these requests and I'll most likely cover them, especially if there is an actionable trade setup to follow. And in the case of this chart, we are dealing with an interesting structure, although unfortunately we have here on the larger time frame a potential initial 5-wave move to the downside that can be tracked as such. Yeah, this could be a wave A down. It could easily expect further continuation lower once this correction would be complete. And the fortunate part within all this story, within this entire story, is that we managed to actually break here above the last level of resistance. We already had here a quite sustained break above the 78.6% retracement, which is suggestive, in fact, of a likely breakout, a likely invalidation of this potential AAB setup or even as a 1-2 setup. What it is not, however, is a guarantee. Yeah, even though we did break the levels of resistance, there is no guarantee that it cannot extend lower. It certainly is possible, especially considering that within this structure to the upside, we seem to be failing quite severely to form a 5-wave move. And within this push from the all-time low, I am in fact tracking in this area an A wave up, a B wave down, and then a C wave to form to the upside. And within this structure, I actually do expect further continuation higher at the moment. The wave C is expected to have a 5-wave move after all, and all I can really find within this structure at the moment is 3 waves complete, possibly the 4th. Yeah, I would actually even prefer that the 4th wave is also in place at this point. Now, an ideal overall target for the wave C for me here would be the 100% extension of the wave A, which is around the $33.8 level. Although, to be clear, this is an ideal target and it certainly doesn't need to get there. Now, could there be something more bullish going on this chart? And the answer is yes. We could be tracking realistically here to form a double 1-2-1-2 setup, but it's not really a high probability interpretation. If we are to build here this wave C to the upside, I would caution you to be highly prepared for a more severe correction. Yeah, we should expect to get at least to the 38.2% retracement of the entire move to the upside. And assuming we have maybe formed a more significant top now, we would be looking at the $5.3 level, for example, because even if we actually formed a more significant top and we don't extend here within the wave C, we would need to track a completely different scenario. But at the moment, for me, this is the most likely interpretation, the main scenario we should be tracking, and I will be focusing on this idea, especially as long as we hold here the area of support for the correction in the wave 4 between the $13.3 all the way down to the $7 level at the 61.8% retracement. Then a break below that last level of support would signal that indeed this structure would no longer be expected to extend higher. We may need to track some sort of a different scenario. Yeah, possibly even more bullish. Doesn't mean it has to be bearish directly. We may succeed in forming something like an A, B, C movement in this area, but the problem is that even though it could be more bullish and the structure could still manage to extend higher, the probabilities for the overall pattern would be significantly hurt. Yeah, they would be, or rather the overall potential of this chart would be overall heavily damaged in my eyes. Yeah, I wouldn't be looking with high probabilities for continuation higher. I would need to consider a very choppy mess to be going on in this area, something like that could possibly even be something like a WXY in which we could have a complete correction. And we could be looking for an extension to new all-time lows. And that is why the $7 level for now is quite critical. Although I don't necessarily expect this to be an issue, as within this structure to the downside, within this wave 4 correction, we have quite nicely built here an ABC movement within a zigzag pattern. Yeah, we have a 5-wave move to the downside in a wave A, we have a 3-wave correction here, something like this. Yeah, it could be even A, B, C like this, doesn't matter exactly. The point is we then also have a 5-wave move to the downside within the wave C. And that allows me to track with quite decent probabilities an uptrend potential that could have started in the 5th wave, and what I would be watching out for in terms of possible extensions lower could be also here an internal 1-2 setup, but mainly here the larger wave A that could have been formed instead of the entire wave 4 in yellow. Yeah, we could have here something like a wave A. In orange, a wave B correction into the area of resistance between the $14 all the way up to the $17.6, and then an extension in the wave C for a reset of the overall wave 4. Now again, I highly prefer that we have in fact already bottomed within the wave 4 in yellow and that we are in a fifth to the upside in which we expect to form an overall ABC movement. If we start to extend this correction in the wave 4, it would already damage the likelihood of it working out. Yeah, in terms of the proportions, it might still manage to get it through. Even if we get something like a larger ABC movement, we may still manage to get the fifth wave afterwards, yeah, from the new low. But the likelihood, the probabilities would heavily prefer that we manage to build a more direct fifth wave to the upside, within which at the moment I may even be able to be tracking here an internal 1-2 setup, assuming we have formed a more significant top. Now this would be of course a wave 1 that would be part of a larger initial wave A, and that would be in a 5-wave structure, in an impulse even, and in such a scenario I would be watching out here for support in the area between the $12.8, yeah, let's say, let me try to move this a little bit higher, but yeah, around the $12.8 all the way down to the $11.7 level at the 78.6% retracement. And as long as we hold here this level of support, we can still track continuation higher, at least within an additional 5-wave move to the upside. But this assumes we have already formed a top within the wave 1. If we extend higher, yeah, the structure, the pattern might change, and we may need to even have a reinterpretation of the overall structure, but we would need at least to adjust the area of support according to the latest top. But yeah, assuming we have formed a top within the wave 1, we have the area of support, we expect to form a 3-wave correction in a wave 2, and then, as I was mentioning, at least another 5-wave move to the upside, if not something more bullish. And for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.